I was telling a young man sitting over here, ask him if he had been up to a place on the Nolichucky River, and he didn't really remember if he had or not. But this little story is for Mr. Miles. Last July, some friends and I went camping. We decided we would spend the night up at Chesto on the Nolichucky River, just kind of south of Irwin. We pulled up in our van and we set up camp, rolled out our sleeping bags, made a tidy little fire, and went swimming in the river. Now, even in the middle of the summer, the Nolichucky is one cold winter. It's fed by spring-fed streams that flow into cold creeks and then into the river, and it stays about 55 degrees. Whew, it was cold. We got out and cooked ourselves a hot supper over the fire. We had fried taters and onions and sausages. And then we made hot chocolate and sat around the fire just swapping tall tales till about 11 o'clock. We had just crawled into our sleeping bags, all relaxed and happy with the fellowship and the good hot food. And Bob heard this loud rustle in the laurel thicket behind us. "Well, what's that, Derek?" asked Trish, sitting up in her blankets. "Aw, scaredy cat, that's nothing. Just probably a possum ambling around looking for leftovers." "Well, it's got big yellow eyes for a nothing." We all looked over where she was pointing in the laurel thicket, and there, about 5 feet up, there were a pair of scary eyes. They were cat eyes, slanted, yellow as a summer squash and glaring with malevolence. We all sat there transfixed. We were trying to figure out what that could possibly be. Bob said, "It's too big for a house cat, and a bobcat, why, he's shy and he wouldn't come around our fire anyway." And as we sat peering into the thicket, those slanted yellow cat eyes moved over about a foot into a clearing in the thicket. And that's when we saw it. I can scarcely tell you, it was so horrifying. It was a big, dark gray cat with a stripy hide and a long, swishy tail. The fire glinted on 2 pairs of long ivory canines. It lowered its head and looked at us. A guttural sound between a snarl and a hiss surged out between red lips, red like blood. And then all of a sudden, we knew. We were the leftovers. But that was not all. This cat was standing on its hind legs, and it was 5.5 feet tall. "Oh, golly! Oh, my gosh! It's the Wampus cat!" hollered Bob. In a flash, we were out of our bags, scrambling across the clearing, jumping into the van, punching down the door locks. We were so scared we were panting. The cat came walking into the clearing. He walked around our sleeping bags, crushed on the ground. He circled the fire. He didn't seem to be afraid of it at all. He was sniffing us. His long black whiskers quivering. And then he turned toward our van. We all gasped and shrank back from the windows. Derek reached for his rifle. The cat gave us one hateful look over his shoulder, and with a caterwauling shriek, he disappeared up the riverside toward the lost cove. We spent the rest of that night huddled together in that van, shivering for all we were worth, scared to leave the van. But in the morning, at first light, we picked up all of our gear and we drove away from that place. Now, Bob And Derek and Trish and I have since been told that the Wampus cat has been seen walking the streets of Johnson City late at night. We haven't been back to Johnson City at night since we heard that. We've not been back to Chestoa either. And you had better stay away too. Thank you.